And this YouTube's taking forever to load up. All right, guys, I don't know if the YouTube is loaded, but I guess we'll see. All right, looks like it's good to go now. So good morning, guys. Happy Monday. Today's Monday, February 27th. It is 6:24 right now. Market's going to open in about 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and set up this link real quick, and then we'll get started shortly. All right, there goes the link to the premium groups. So I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. And then we can get started shortly. Just a couple more things here to update. A few more things here. All right, one last thing, and we should be good to go. All right, solid. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today's Monday, February 27th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. So I got everything all set up right here. I think we're good to go. And that's that. Let me get this link posted to one more page over here real quick. All right, solid. All right, the Telegram still post that. All right, guys. So let's see what's here so far. Let me scroll up real quick. Hey, Van Harwick, how's it going? Morning. Morning, David. Morning, Martha. Morning, Shaka. Morning, Saren. Morning, Maria. Morning, Karen. Morning, Madhu. Morning, Rashida. Morning, guys. So hopefully everyone had a great weekend, guys. Back to the market. Market is opening in about 3 minutes. There's a couple pre-market moves here that showed up. None that I took because today's Monday. You know, as you guys remember, Monday and Friday are the riskier days to trade because the market's reopening from the weekend. So no trades for me pre-market. Typically, I might take maybe 1 or 2 trades. The trade that I did see right here was the momentum scalp variation on this candle right here. Went straight to TP. I was planning on taking it, but I was a little too late with that entry. I'm still going to keep applying that theory that I mentioned on Friday, guys. So like basically if we have an entry here and the entry doesn't hit within the first 3 candles or 3 minutes, whatever you want to consider it, I'm going to be pulling out early without profit. The thing that I noticed like with our entries here is that, you know, the trades typically hit within the first couple of minutes or so, typically the first candle that comes up. So if our TP doesn't hit, I'm just going to pull out early. There's no need for me to take unnecessary risk here, especially on a Monday. So I'll keep doing that. And then, you know, we'll see where this ends up going. If that becomes the case and it works best for us, I'll just keep doing that. It just makes the most sense because I'd rather come out with a small loss rather than having to hold on to that and end up having a big loss later. Let's see who's here. Morning, crypto. How's it going? Morning, T. All right, guys. Market is opening in about 2 minutes. Links all posted up. I think we're good to go. Let me check the news real quick to see if there's anything this morning. So there was news over here at 5:30. So I'm gonna go and mark that up real quick. It's durable goods. It's probably what caused this big spike to the upside. So we had news over here at 5:30. Right there. Let's see if there's any other news today. We have news at 7 o'clock, 7:30 and 8:30. Okay, so 7 o'clock and 7:30 main times for news over here. I got to go and fix this up again. This thing gets kind of annoying, but it's all good. The new contracts haven't started yet. It's almost March, so it'll start soon. But yeah, we do have news over here at 7. And then we got news over here at 7:30. Let me check Forex Factory real quick to see if there's anything else here as well. News at 5:30, 7:30. That's it. Okay, so that's all the news for today, guys. Morning, Gary. All right, guys, market is opening about 10 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the chart. We're not anything right now. Market is be opening shortly. All right, guys, market is now open. Let's see if price continues to push up. Or obviously right now we have a bullish bias. Let me go and I'll do our full analysis shortly. All right, we got that right there. Here's a clean chart. I'm just going to mark up. I do the same thing here. Super annoying. All right. So we got opening price right here at 6:30. I'm going to mark up. And you guys can see how price is moving kind of crazy, right? This is normal for Monday. Market is reopening from the weekend. So you're going to get some crazy movement here. That's why it's better to just wait for the market to stabilize before looking for any entries here. I think that's pretty much it for right now. Yeah, you guys can see how price is kind of moving a little crazy. I'll go down and I'll analyze everything from a top-down analysis so that you guys can see what the bigger picture looks like. So looking over here on the higher time frames, the 10-minute, 30-minute, and 1-hour time frames, we currently have I guess it's somewhat bullish. It's attempting to be bullish. So the 1 hour over here just shifted up to a bullish trend. You can see price was below the pivots. Trend meter is still red for this here, but price did swing above. We have to wait and see if this actually holds though. So the 1 hour over here is currently neutral because it's technically in between the pivots. Trend meter is still red. The 30-minute over here is already bullish. It's established over the past couple of hours ago since London session. So the 30-minute over here is currently bullish, and the 10-minute here is obviously bullish because price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling up. On the 1 hour over here, price is above the pivots, but it's just up by one candle. The pivots are angling up, and the trend meter down below is currently neutral. It's blue. So with that said, we currently have a bullish to neutral bias on the higher time frames. Looking over here on the lower time frames, though, we currently have a bullish bias. Obviously, you can see over here on the 1 minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute time frames that price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green, and the pivots are angling up. So with that said, we'll probably be looking for buys today, but you want to be a bit careful and cognizant of like market movement here. So what we might see here happen is price might drop down a little bit. But if price does correct back up to where we're expecting it, I'm expecting price to push back up and retest opening price. So target price point here is opening price. Price may drop for a bit, and then eventually I think it's going to push back up and retest the opening price there, of course. So we'll see where this ends up going. If this candle here closes with the wick rejection off the bottom, I think price may push up and retest the opening price. But that's the thing that you guys have to wait for, because there's a wick rejection off the top here, but not off the bottom. And on this candle right here, there's wick rejections on both sides. So just be a little patient, guys, with this movement here. But the thing to look out for is if you get a wick rejection off the bottom here on the 1 minute, with no wick rejection on the top, there's a wick rejection on both sides right here. So this is not a good confirmation. But if you do get a wick rejection off the bottom here, price will probably push up, and then eventually we'll come back and retest the opening price. That's target price point here. If you guys are looking to take speculative moves and whatnot, I know some of you guys here like to take those. So if that's the case, then that's what you'd be looking for. But at the moment right now, no entries for us to take here. This is technically a momentum scalp failure, but price is in between the pivots, so it's a little difficult to really gauge it. If price does push above the pivots, then that would be a momentum scalp variation. I'll put the requirements up here for the strategies so that you guys can see. So the momentum scalp failure technically it won't be. Actually, the volume here is above average, so it's not going to be a momentum scalp failure. The next entry that would come up would be a momentum scalp variation. So if price closes above the pivots, that'd be a momentum scalp variation. This right here was not a momentum scalp failure because obviously volume was above average. Not exactly what we're looking for. So a couple of things to look for here. You're waiting for price to break and close above the pivots over here. If that becomes the case, then it'll be a momentum scalp variation. And then if you get a buy signal, then that's going to be a momentum scalp down here. So that's kind of what you're looking for right now. But we don't have that yet, so you just got to be patient and wait for it. Also, the trend right now is currently not bullish on the 1 minute because price is below the pivots. Trend meter is currently blue. Pivots are angling down. So with that said, we probably won't have an actual entry that we can take because the first criteria here for all the strategies is to confirm the overall trend, right? In order for us to confirm the overall trend, price needs to be above on pretty much all the time frames. So right here, this doesn't meet criteria on any of the strategies. So with that said, there's no entry for us to take right now for a buy, but we're technically looking for a buy long term. 10-minute here is still bullish. 5-minute here is still technically bullish. The 1 minute here is no longer bullish. So with that said, there is no overall trend here for a buy. So just be patient, guys. Just keep in mind that price may kind of, mess around down here, but eventually if price is correct back up to where it's supposed to go, target price point is going to be opening price. So we'll see where that ends up going. Let me go over here real quick on this clean chart. Yeah, so what you might want to see here is to identify the bounce. So the bounce on the bottom here might happen at some point. Once that bounce happens, target price point's obviously going to be opening price. But yeah, looking over here on all the time frames, there's just no confirmation yet. So what I'd probably be looking for here, guys, is you guys can see here on the 10 how there's a wick rejection off this bottom end. I probably would have to see this on the 5, push up, retest, and continue. That's basically what I'd be looking for right here. See that pattern right there, get that same wick rejection off the 5. Odds of it pushing up back up are going to be likely. And then on the 1 minute over here, this is probably going to have the same effect and it's probably going to push up higher. So if this right here closes above the pivots, this is technically, it's not a clean entry though. Yeah, it's not looking too clean. So the thing with this here is, yeah, if this here closes above the pivots, but you got to actually wait for it to close, guys. So don't try to enter this one early because at the last second, this might come back down. Also, the problem with this here is that this might reach that red flag. So I'm probably going to watch it. I'll see if it pushes up. If it closes above, I'll take it. If it doesn't push up within the first, 3 candles, then I'm probably just going to pull out. So there goes the entry right there for the momentum scalp variation. It's kind of close to the thing though. So I'm watching it over here to see where it ends up going. But as I mentioned, guys, like this over here is kind of, technically this should have been at 25.50 because the range was like wide enough. But we'll have to see where this ends up going. Because the thing is, if we do a 25.50, it's going to cut into the opening price, which is not, obviously becomes a red flag at that point. So there goes the first candle right there. Price is pushing up. Again, as I mentioned, guys, if this doesn't push up within, the first 3 candles, then I'll probably just be pulling out for a small win or a small loss. But I got to be aware of where price is currently going. So I'm in this position, guys. This is the second candle right here. I'm using a 500 pip TP stop loss right now, though, because technically this is supposed to be a bigger stop loss. It's just I'm using the TP for 100 because I need to pull out if necessary. So just a heads up, guys, I'm using a 500 pip stop loss because of the that's how it's supposed to be taken because the range right here is too small for a 300. But if it doesn't happen within the first 3 candles, I'm just going to close out for early, for a small loss. You guys don't have to do this though. If you guys want to hold it to the full move, you guys can hold it. But for me personally, I'm going to pull if it doesn't have its, its direction by then. But I'm holding it until like 3 candles. I have my stop loss down here though, so just give you guys a heads up. This is technically, the move is supposed to be for 25.50. That's why. But if you guys want to hold on to it, it's just really up to you guys. I'm just telling you guys what I'm personally doing because I'm trying to figure out this theory that I'm trying to see. Because if I can minimize my losses and then, go for the same wins, and perfect. But if not, then, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing before. So this here would be the third candle right here, guys. I mean, obviously I'm not waiting for it to push up a little bit, but I might just be eating the loss here. If you guys don't want to eat the loss, just hold on to it. But for me personally, I'm trying out this theory here. So if this here doesn't push up, it's going to close out for a small loss. So let's get a little push up a little bit. This is the third candle right here. And it looks like I'll be pulling out for a small loss here, unfortunately. So this is the third candle right here. You see as it pushes up a little bit. All right, I'm closing out for a small loss. It's all right. That's just me, guys. If you guys want to hold on to it, the trade's still technically running because it's still technically 25.50. But for me personally, I'm closing out for a small loss because what I'm doing here is typically when we take entries, the entries have to hit within the first, or they typically hit within the first 3 minutes. If they don't hit within the first 3 minutes, then typically this will like either bounce around for a very long time or it'll turn into a riskier move. So for me personally, I'm out of this trade. I pulled out for a small loss. I'm going to eat that loss, move on to the next one. Price is pushing back up right here. So if another entry does come up, I'll re-enter, but I'd rather eat a small loss there than have to like risk, getting caught in this position for too long. So if you guys are still in the position, it looks like it's still going to push back up into profit. It's probably going to push up and hit TP, honestly, but it's all good. I ate the loss right there because as you guys can see, this thing did pull down below the 300, but the TP stop loss here should have been a 25.50. Because the range here, the only reason I was going for 100 TP was because, and I had to make adjustments, was because the opening price right here. So obviously red flags, probably should have just been one that I probably waited for the next one, but you can't, the only way for you guys to really grow is to take these risks. So I took the risk there, ate a small loss, move on to the next one. Red flag right here would be the opening price, but that's target price point. So price right here is pushing up. There's no other entry for me to take yet, though. If this here rejects off the, let me see. Nah, I was looking for that wick rejection, but the wick rejection here didn't line up because I was looking for a double wick rejection on this and this to really confirm the push to the upside, but there's no wick rejection here on the 5. Gotta wait for this one here to close, but it has about 30 minutes left on it. So not sure if anybody's still in this position. I'm out. Let's see, took a small loss. Now it's got to bounce back with the next couple wins. Let me see where this is currently at. So let's see this right here. So the entry that I took here, and let me just explain why I took this trade. The reason why I took this trade is because it lined up for criteria of a momentum scalp variation and a momentum scalp. So price over here was bullish overall on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute time frames. That's going to be step one. Step two is momentum aligning with the 5 and 10. So over here, you can see we had a buy signal on both sides. Everything lined up. Looks like it's going to hit TP, but it's all good. If you guys are still holding on to its back end profit, looks like it's pushing up to that 100 mark. Full TP on the 100 mark. If you guys took it for 100, the entire move is going to be 25.50. So the 100 pips just hit, guys. If you guys were holding on to it for 100 pips, the let me see where the this is the actual variation. TP right here. All right, so price is pushing up right there. I still think the full TP will hit, but I pulled out for a small loss. This wasn't worth my risk here. So there we go. Price is pushing up to the opening price where we anticipated. Target price point was hit. Now it's pushing right past it. Nice. So Brian over here, he actually held it for 100 pips, hit his full TP. Right work, Brian. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the next entry, guys. And I know another entry will come back up, so I'm not really worried about it. But this right here was obviously an iffy entry on my end. So it's waiting for this to push back up from where it's currently at. And we will see where it goes. Malcolm's asking, are the lot sizes the same with the 25.50 and a 1030? No, it's different, Malcolm, because obviously you use a 1 to 3% risk. So if you're using proper lot sizing, your lot size should be different. Stop loss is way bigger if it's a 500 pip stop loss. So check out the course. There's a whole module with lot sizes on there, depending on what stop loss you're using. So I could probably pull it up for you guys later, but if you, I mean, it's available to you guys to just go on the course. It's in the free course, so there's no there's no unavailability because it's available to everybody. It's a free course and paid course. There's a whole module there that has it. It's a little different. So it's probably like 70% of like the lot size that you would use for a 300 pip stop loss, because the lot size is it varies by 300 pips or 200 pips, actually. Not a big difference, but slightly different. So I'm not in any positions right now, guys. I just have this marked up right here. I'm looking for another entry to come up. So what I'm looking for here personally is I'm looking for a sell signal to come up. Here's the sell signal for a momentum scalp failure. I'm just looking for this to like reset the setup here. But I'm not in any positions right here. I took this earlier trade here. It would have hit my TP, but I pulled out early for a small loss because I'm trying to test out this theory where if the trade doesn't hit within the first 3 candles, I pull out for a small profit or a small loss. Doesn't matter what it is. And then I move on to the next one. That just keeps my trade psychology on point, and it keeps my emotions out of the game. Because the thing, like for example here, if I was holding on to this position right now, I'd be so stressed out because this trade typically hits right away, right? And this trade's been running for, let's see how long. It'd be running for about 10 minutes. Our scalps are supposed to hit within the first 1 to 3 minutes. So if they don't hit within those first 3 minutes, I'm out. Doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss, I'm out. And then that allows me to reset because I can look for the next entry now. Yeah, Patricia said these candles are, yeah, I know these candles are not good at all. They're very choppy. It's kind of how it was last week, right? Price did come back to retest the opening price right here, but there's no direction. So market open right here at 630, there's opening price, and price just keeps going up and down. Typically when market opens like this, especially on a Monday, because you want to have some sort of direction, price will typically go, you know, straight up like that. Like there's 2 different directions here. Price will go up like that, and then vice versa, price will go down as well. So there's just no direction. I mean, if price comes back below here, then great. I just wanted to stay below here, but that's the case that we're looking for. So if price stays below here and it just keeps dropping lower, then great. You know, we'll start looking for sells at that point. But my guess right here is that price will just keep testing this lower end, and it'll just come back up and retest the opening price, which is kind of annoying because there's no direction at that point. Let's see, question from Karen. Karen's asking, wasn't volume above average? So what are you referring to, Karen? Because there's only one strategy where a momentum scalp failure requires the volume. None of these strategies over here require volume. So if you're talking about the momentum, yeah, because the momentum scalp variation and momentum scalp, they don't require volume at all. The only one that requires volume would be the momentum scalp failure. So that's why this year's still a valid entry, because everything met criteria. It's still technically running too. It's just, you know, it's moving back and forth. There's no direction. If there was a direction here, that'd be great, because this is technically what would happen, right? So if there was a direction here and we enter this trade, price would push up, retrace, and continue pushing up. That'd be a quick move, right, to happen within the first, you know, 3 minutes or so. Or vice versa, if it hit our stop loss, you know, that'd be the case for price went straight to our stop loss. I'd rather have that. I'd rather know right away whether I'm in profit or not for these scalps, because these scalp trades are not meant to be held intraday, right? They become an intraday trade at that point. So for me personally, I think this rule is going to be something that I'm going to stick with, because I tested this strategy last week. I just kind of did some testing, and I had technically all wins, even though the market was kind of choppy last week, but I pulled out early for like 1 trade. But otherwise, everything else would have been perfectly fine. Song over here mentioned good 3 candle rule. Some movement pre-market and post-market take forever to hit TP, and then a scalp becomes a day trade. Exactly, Song. So Song is exactly on point with my my logic here. So you guys got to remember that these trades that we're taking, these are all scalps, right? That's why they have scalp in the name. Momentum scalp failure, momentum scalp variation, momentum scalp. Scalp trades are supposed to hit within like a minute or 2. They're supposed to hit right away, whether it be a TP or whether it be a stop loss, because you're trying to catch the little momentum swing in the market. If you hold it longer than that, it becomes a day trade or an intraday trade, which is not what we're looking for, because we want this trade to hit right away. It's better to be in and out quickly rather than having to hold on to it. And then it becomes a trade that you're uncertain about. Because whenever you're uncertain about a trade, you start to get stressed out. And then stress turns into distress, sorry. Stress turns into distress. And that's what you guys don't want to have when you guys are trading, because when you guys are distressed trading, your emotions start to get involved, right? So, with regard to trade psychology, when you guys are taking scalps, you got to make sure that you stay on point and you guys aren't stressed out too much. Stress is fine. Stress is normal, but distress is not. So just keep that in mind, guys, whenever you guys are looking for entries here. And you can use this for any other type of strategy. So you don't have to use it for my strategies. If you guys are scalping and doing your own thing, then just keep that in mind. I think this 3 candle rule is typically, it's universal if you guys are scalping. Perfect. Yeah. Patricia said that she likes the 3 candle rule as well. Yeah, no, I think it's good. It's going to suck sometimes because you guys are going to have to eat losses from time to time. But I think long term it's going to be beneficial because you guys will be able to pull out of trades a lot quicker. You'll be able to minimize your losses, because I know we're using a negative risk reward. So if you let this run always straight to your stop loss, it's going to be an issue, because if you keep hitting stop losses, which I don't think will happen, but if you hit more than a couple stop losses, then you're going to be in a hole, right? So I'd rather pull out for maybe $1,000 loss rather than eating a whole $3,000 loss and then have to live with it. So, all right, we got price pushing up right here. We have that wick projection on the bottom. I think price will probably push back up and then retest the opening price. That's kind of where I'm seeing price going from here. So, if you guys are looking for a speculative move here, I think price will push up and retest the opening price. Main reason I think that, guys, is because we have a wick rejection over here on the 1. We just have a hint here. Price action is basically hinting that price is going to push back up higher. And then, the target price point here is always going to be opening price. Opening price acts like a magnet, right? Price is choppy here going back and forth, but where price typically goes back to retest is going to be opening price right there. It just acts as a magnet. So it's going to pull price up there. If you're going for 100 pips, it's not too big of a push there. So just something to keep in mind, but you guys got to be cognizant of market movement here. But as Gary mentioned over here, it's too choppy this morning. And I agree. There's no movement here. Price just keeps going back and forth, but you can always count on price likely reaching opening price at some point. It might not happen right now, it might not happen in the next 10 minutes, but eventually I think price will come back up and retest the opening price. Because that's the only structure that we really have right here. We have news coming up right here at 7 o'clock as well that you guys want to probably look out for. What's the news coming up at 7? 7 o'clock news is pending home sales. I'm expecting this news not to be good. Oh yeah, so you guys can see right here from the previous last month, pending home sales is at 2.5%. Pending home sales right now is at 0.9% forecasted. And I agree with this here because a lot of people are not buying homes. So I don't think there's any pending home sales in the pipeline right now. There's some, of course, people are still buying homes that can afford them, but it's really difficult for people to buy homes right now with interest rates so high. So people who are buying homes are just buying homes cash, or they're investors and they're, doing cash purchases. So we'll see what ends up happening there. There goes my analysis, played out perfect. Like I mentioned, guys. So where did I say price was going to go? Opening price. So I actually took that. I took a little, here, I'll just take a screenshot of my profits. So as I was showing you guys earlier, or as I was mentioning, I did take a loss earlier. So I just want you guys to be aware. And then I took one win over here and pretty much minimized my loss. So I am red right now, but I'm not too far. I just need to have another 1 or 2 wins and I'm back in profit. Because I pulled out earlier for a small little loss, but it's all good. So I just want to show you guys here what because I want to be transparent with you guys, right? That's the 100% thing I want to be with you guys, transparent. So you guys can see right here for my wins and losses, I have negative 1,700. I took that small loss earlier with the first entry, even though it looks like it's going to hit TP. I'm not going to regret it because I made that decision to pull out early for the right reasons. So took one small loss, took one win here. Currently still negative 1,700, and then 1,900 on my MFF accounts, which is all good. So here's the thing too, if you guys want to do what I'm doing and you guys want to pull out with the, the first 3 candles, you guys can't regret pulling out, right? Like for example, right here, price is going to hit its TP for the original entry. So the original entry right here is about to hit its TP. For me personally, I don't regret it because, I knew my trading plan and I stuck to it. And that's what you guys got to do too. If you guys have a trading plan, you guys just got to stick to it. If you eat losses or if you take wins, you just got to stick to your trading plan. You can't be changing your mind midway. Like for example, here, if you pulled out of this position for a loss, you shouldn't be thinking about re-entering the trade right now just because it's going to push up to TP. You just got to eat that loss and move on to the next one. And there you go. So if you guys took the trade here, the trade technically hit full TP. So this is the actual trade that came up for the momentum scalp variation and momentum scalp, but you guys can see that this trade here took a very long time for it to hit. I don't want to be in that crosshairs right there where this can easily just come down and hit my stop loss. Because if you're doing a 25.50, yeah, this is a 2-to-1 risk to reward. But if you eat a loss here, you're going to have to like climb your way out of this hole later on, right? So for me personally, I took a small loss down here. I lost like a little over 2,000. I took 1 win right now off the speculative move. I basically recouped my loss from this trade here a little bit. And now I'm just at a negative 1,700 on my FTMO. So it's not a big deal. It's a small loss compared to a negative 3,000 or a negative 5,000, right? If I was taking this full stop loss over here. So, it's really up to preference. If you guys want to be conservative like me, then you guys can apply this way and you guys can pull out for small loss or small win and then make your way back up as the trading day goes on. But if not, then you guys can hold on to it and just trust the move. Because typically it'll probably hit, but for me personally, I don't want to have that stress holding on to this position for a while. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a little update in the group here for whoever held it. Looks like a couple of you guys here held on to it, so that's good. For me, I'm eating the loss on this one. Small loss though, so it's not a big deal. All right, so I'll just give you guys a little update over here in the group. This was a variation. There. All right, so just going through the group over here real quick. See, David over here, he took a small loss on that trade earlier. Or actually, he took his own trade, I think. So David actually took a couple small losses over here. Maddie over here. Maddie took the trade there. He's currently up 1,070 on his first account, 1,210 on his second account. Nice work, Maddie. So Eunice over here took it for 100 pips. He took the trade earlier. Total profit of 252 for the day. Nice work, Eunice. Yeah, so Eunice over here was trying to pull out early with me, but he lost his connection and then he just ended up holding on to it. It is full TP 252. We have Natasha over here. She took the trade as well, currently in profit 710. Nice work, Natasha. So I'm still in the red right now. I'm looking for another trade to take to make my way back up. Brock over here, no trades. Yeah, smart move, Brock. On this account right here. See, Martha over here took the trade as well. She's currently up 1,160. Nice work, Martha. All right, solid work, guys. For whoever took the trade and held on to it. If you guys didn't, it's fine. There's going to be more entries. It's still Monday, so just keep that in mind, guys. We have a whole week ahead of us, so there's no need to force anything or rush anything. No entries available right now. Obviously, price is now starting to correct back up. Let's see if price actually holds above here, though. If price doesn't hold above, it'll probably come back, retest opening price. But we'll have to take this candle by candle and see where this ends up going. We have news coming up right here at 7 o'clock as well. We'll see if news ends up pushing price up or holds it down. And then from there, we'll continue to see where this goes. So Angela over here as well. She took a trade earlier this morning with us, pulled out early for a profit, total profit of 328 for the day. Nice work, Angela. All right, solid work right there. Some profit over here from Sisu. He's currently up 3,000 for the day. So Sisu took the trade this morning as well, held on to it, let it hit full TP. Great work right there. Sisu 3,000 for the day, all wins. So we took that there. Plus he took those speculative moves that I was mentioning to you guys earlier this morning. So price is pushing up pretty heavy. This is fine because we had a bullish bias this morning. This is kind of what I mentioned earlier when market opened. That's why I was convinced to take this buy earlier, because everything was so bullish, but you can see how price was super choppy and then it finally did push right back up. One thing to look out for here, guys, is going to be the sessions right here. Obviously, red flag. So we'll see where this ends up, going. We got news right here at 7 o'clock. News is coming up in about 20 seconds. So we'll see where that ends up going. And then from here, we'll start to determine, where price will likely go. Let's see, Brexit, awkward market. UK and EU agreed to crucial Northern Ireland trade deal and Brexit. Yeah, I remember CERN was telling me about that. The Forex pairs are probably moving kind of crazy. We'll probably be moving a lot this week then if that was the case, especially the GBP pairs, GBP and the euro. All right, so here's the news candle right here, guys. I'm going to mark up news price right there. I pretty much assumed that it was going to be negative. Let's check the news real quick. So news over here at 7 o'clock, pending home sales. It was actually positive. Wow, there's a lot of pending home sales. So I was not expecting that at all. Last month was 2.5. This month is 8.1. They were forecasting it to be 0.9, which is a huge jump. I don't know what's going on in the housing market, unless that's all like, investors just buying out houses. I'm pretty sure they're not regular residential buyers, because the housing market's not necessarily doing that great right now. All right, so price is pushing back up right here. It's testing the news price, which is this pink line. Here's the clean chart. There's still nothing going on. So as you guys can see here, price pushed down below, went sideways, pushed back up, back into that sideways movement. So there's not really much direction here. Here's the higher time frames. The higher time frames are now bullish across the board. So the 1 hour, 30-minute, and 10-minute time frames here are all bullish. Reason for that is because price is above the pivots. Pivots are angling up. And the trend meter down below is currently all green. So with that said, we currently have a bullish bias on the higher time frames. That's not really too much of an importance to us because we're more focused here on these lower time frames. So our main focus right now is going to be this 1, 5, and 10, which is also bullish. Price is currently above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling up. The main thing we'll be looking for here on the 1 is a sell signal. So we're looking for a sell signal here to come up. If a sell signal comes up here on the 1 minute, then this is going to be a setup for a momentum scalp failure entry, right? We got to look for a sell signal, and we got to see if the volume here is below average. If that's the case, then we'll be having a setup for a momentum scalp failure. And then from there, we can look for these other entries here as well. See, Maddie mentioned CNBC announced Dow pushes 200 points, trying to rebound at 69.50 or 659. Might lure in buyers and dump. Yeah, let me check that real quick. So CNBC over here, let's refresh this real quick. As you guys can see from all the indexes, it's currently bullish right now. The Dow's currently up 290 points. S&P's up 38 points. Nasdaq's up 131 points. Russell's 2K is up 12 points, and the VIX is currently down 3%. So that said, obviously you can see that everything here is kind of bullish. Looking over here at the news, this is what Maddie just mentioned. Dow jumps more than 200 points as stocks try to rebound from worst week of 2023. Yeah, last week was pretty heavy. We didn't even have any trades last week. Here we go as price pushes up. It's blasting right through the sessions right there. That's gonna be a red flag. So you guys want to keep in mind that when price reaches these red flags right here, one of two things will typically happen, right? Right here at this red line, which is the London high, price is going to do one of two things. Price will either bounce off it, might fake out and bounce down from there, or it'll just continue pushing up from this point. Overall bias is bullish, so obviously we're looking for price to go up. But for me personally, I'm looking for that retracement. price is overextended. So you can see right here, price pushed up from this lower end all the way up to where it's currently at. That's about 1,300 pip move right there with no retracement. So I think what might happen here is a fake out. So you see how price broke and closed above the structure. I'm expecting price to fake out right here and then come back down. But we'll see. I mean, that's just my opinion. This doesn't necessarily have to happen, but this is kind of what I see happening here. I think price is going to fake out. It's going to come down slightly because it's due for retracement. Hasn't came down in a while. Volume here is pretty high too. So we'll see if volume here starts to die down. One thing to look out for here would be the volume. So as price pushes up right here, volume starts to die down. I'm expecting a fake out. So if this candle here doesn't match this one or this bar, I'm expecting the volume here to slow down a bit and then start to turn its way right back down to retest the sessions. I wouldn't take a speculative move down to the sessions. I know some of you guys try to take these speculative moves back in both directions, but I wouldn't do that because the overall bias here for a buy is just way too strong. But it is due for retracement. So you guys can already see down here. Look at the volume, how it's starting to die down. So volume here was high. Volume here was like medium. Now it's low. I think this will probably come back down and retest the red line there, which should be the London high. David's asking, do you think market will go down later? So I'll ask you the question, Dave. What do you think? Why do you think it's going to go down? Because I want to see your thought process. Because for me personally, I don't see the market going down at all. Everything here is very bullish. So I'm just curious to think, because you asked me this question last week too. I'm wondering like why you think price will go down. I mean, price will retrace a little bit, but I'm curious to like to see like what your thought process is, why you think it's going to go down. I think price will go down long term because, you know, obviously we're going through a recession, but for today, maybe tomorrow, I don't think price is going to come down that heavy. I think price is still bullish here, especially if the 1 hour here is still above. So yeah, Dave, if you have any analysis as to like why you think price will go down, I think that'll be beneficial because it's good to like compare and contrast my analysis with yours, because everything here is bullish. So I don't see any reason for it to come down at all. Everything here on the higher time frames is bullish. Everything here on the lower time frames is bullish. Everything over here on like, say, the market sentiment. Let's check the sentiment right now. So let's refresh this. Sentiment is currently 54% long. So everything here still points towards this. I mean, this hasn't really, right now it's neutral. So this right here wouldn't even be useful to us. If this was like 60% long, then I'd maybe expect it to come down at some point. Or if this here was 60% short, I would expect it to keep pushing up. But there just isn't really much of a confirmation here. But on the short term, I still think price is going to push up. So we'll see. But yeah, so Shannon over here said the lower end dump is what I see as well. Yeah. So I think price will come down a little bit, but I don't think it'll come down too heavy. It'll come down for retracement. So like if price does come down, there's two different price points here that I can see price to come down to. So sessions right here, news price and opening price. But I don't really see it coming down too heavy. Like I don't see it coming like straight down here, right? Or maybe, who knows, maybe price will come down and retest the news price down here, but I don't really expect that to happen too much. I think price will maybe come down slightly and then come back up. So small retracement and then continuation. Let's see. I mean, everything here is still pretty bullish though. Yeah, Maddie said he thinks it's going to range, squeeze, and break out. That's kind of what I see happening too, Maddie. Like I think overall price will keep pushing up. But if it does retrace, which I mean, it's due for retracement, it has to. Let me see how far price is pushed from this point. Okay, so this is usually the distance where price tends to retrace from. Like 1,500 pips is typically how like is like the overextension point for me personally. Whenever I measure things here with this, usually at the 1,500 pip mark, this is usually where I see some sort of retracement, at least a little retracement. It doesn't have to be a big one, but I see at least some retracement happen. So I probably wouldn't chase this here, guys. If you guys are looking to take some buys here, I'd be very careful. Or if you guys are chasing buys here, make sure to use like a trailing stop. Because the last thing you want to do is hop into a buy here, and then as soon as you enter the trade, it comes crashing down, right? At least if you have a trailing stop, the trade will follow your stop loss will follow your trade, and then you'll maybe get pulled out at break even or for a small profit. Let's see. Lyric said, "Love how Sean shows both wins and L's. It's rare for traders to do that." Yeah, no, definitely. Lyric, thanks, bro. Yeah, you guys got to be transparent. Like realistically, it's impossible to be 100% with your trading, right? I know for me, sometimes it seems like I am 100%, which I mean, I'm typically in that range. Like I'm like probably at a 90% win rate, if not higher, with my yearly trading because we document everything. But for the most part, it's impossible to be 100%. And you guys have to understand that losses happen. Because if you guys have that mindset where you think it's impossible to lose, when you guys finally do have that loss, it's not going to be a good scene because you guys are going to have, it's going to be hard to get out of your hole. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had that before where you guys had a really good winning streak and then you had one loss and then you just have loss after loss because you can't get out of that slump. But you guys got to keep in mind, stick to your trading plan. Doesn't matter what strategy you're applying, whether it's my strategy, whether it's support resistance, whether it's order blocks, or whatever you guys are applying, just stick to your trading plan at all times. All right, so price is starting to retrace right here. Let's see if price does actually retrace. You guys can see the red candle right here. So if this retraces, guys, I'm expecting it to come back down and retest the sessions right there. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just saw Alexander's message right now. So Alexander said it's getting all the liquidity on the higher time frames. And then Pam's asking what's the indication of liquidity. So the way that you can identify it is, so I could already see it right here on the 30-minute. You just turn on your high-low indicator right here. Pam, this is how you would identify it. So like this is how the charts look without it. But if you turn this on right here, so basically what Alexander saw here was liquidity getting knocked out. So the way to identify liquidity is you would just mark up lines right here where these highs have not been tested. So price hasn't came up and tested these highs right here, right? This is the liquidity that Alexander was identifying. So he saw price right here hit liquidity right there, right? So when price hits liquidity right here, typically what we're identifying is we're seeing people stop losses getting hit, right? So basically whoever chased the sell from here. So if you think about it, so if anybody was entering a sell from this point over here, like say you were entering a sell, you saw price coming down right here and you enter a sell, right? Where would you place your stop loss? Everyone places their stop loss in the same place. They place it at the swing high, which would be right here, right? Another swing high right there, another swing high right there, another swing high right there. There's a lot of swing highs right here, right? So what we identified, or what Alexander identified, is basically now that price has come down, the same people who were holding on to that position for a sell right there, their stop losses are placed in these same areas. So as the stop losses get triggered, these stop losses will basically transform these sells into now buys. That's why it gets liquidity here. Because when this price point gets hit right here, these sells get transferred to buys because they get stopped out, and then it pushes price up higher. So that's what Alexander was looking at, and that's how he identifies liquidity. It's something that I've taught as well, and it's using his indicators. So yeah, nice catch right there, Alexander, with your identification. It still works fine. I mean, it just depends on how you guys want to trade. I've taught like different ways to identify these things. So if there's anything specific that you guys are looking for, I probably have some sort of way to identify it. All right, so there goes a retracement right there, guys. I don't know if this will retrace back to the sessions, but there's not enough retracement here for us to take any entry. So I'm basically looking for a sell signal here on the 1 minute. So if we get a sell signal over here on the 1 minute, this will provide us possibility of momentum scalp failure. So we have a possible momentum scalp failure that's setting up right here, guys. Not one that I would personally take myself because I don't take that specific entry. One thing to look out for here is going to be volume. So if the volume here is above average, then there's no momentum scalp failure at that point. So there's a pending sell signal here. All right, we got that pending sell signal. It hasn't closed yet. One thing to look out for would be the volume, like I mentioned earlier down here. All right, it's a little bit of a messy entry here, guys, because if this here closes, it's going to be, I mean, this would technically be a momentum scalp variation. We don't have it yet, though. So this here's a tricky candle. This isn't a momentum scalp variation, guys. So just keep that in mind. We need the sell signal in order for it to be a momentum scalp variation. So in order for us to have this entry here, we need to have a sell signal, whether it be valid or invalid. But you guys can see how the candle is currently moving right now. It's not really moving very smoothly. It's kind of like died down. Yeah, CC mentioned there's also a video on YouTube that we use to identify liquidity pushes. Yeah, CC said if there was a way I could convince you to do a video on Batman pattern. And if you guys have been part of the group, you guys remember before, there used to be like a couple of like guys who would troll in the group in the YouTube before. They would always call out these Batman patterns. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but I mean, that's why I don't trade patterns, because there's so many different patterns, and it's really easy to just create a pattern and make something up that sounds like it's something proper. I don't even know how that Batman pattern was thought of, but I've seen it before. It's fun. It's like on YouTube. You can even like find people that make actual videos on that. Song said, is it like the Bart Simpson pattern? Yeah, it is. It's kind of similar. It's like, is there a drawing tool here? I forgot what it was. It was something like this. It was like a they do like some kind of Batman pattern like this. This is kind of, it's similar to a cipher, but I don't even know how to draw the cipher. But someone, it kind of looked like a bow tie. That was like a pattern that they drew in the group. Like they would keep calling Batman patterns. And we're like, what is a Batman pattern? And they showed it to us, and it was actually a pattern that people used. And I was like, that's crazy, because like you can make it, like if you think about it, guys, like if you go over here to the clean chart, you can create whatever pattern you want. Like for example, here, like, you know, if someone wanted to create a Batman pattern and just like make something up, it's not too difficult for someone to make something up. Like the thing with the head and shoulders, it's easy to make up as well. Like you can technically make up a lot of stuff. I think the Bart Simpson pattern that you guys are talking about, it was like his hair, right? So they're like, oh, this is the Bart Simpson pattern. And they expect it to come down from that point. It's technically like a triple top. It's like his hair. It's like a Bart Simpson's head. That's why I don't have anything against patterns, but I don't trade patterns at all, because you can kind of make up whatever you want to see. Like you can train your eyes to see something that's not even there. So I feel like patterns are really difficult to really get on point specifically. I just go directly off market movement. Patterns just like, it's too much. It's too much to really understand for you to like really accurately identify things. Dejan said, when people post their trading thoughts on TradingView. Yeah. Let's see what else we got over here. Yeah, Patricia said going way back. Yeah, I mean, it's always interesting to have, like, I never like knock anybody's strategy, because there's like technically you can apply any strategy with trading. It just depends if it works, right? Like that's why I never knock anybody's strategy. A lot of people knock scalping because they don't know how to scalp. But I think scalping works perfectly fine for like us specifically, and we have like, you know, the live sessions to prove it. But yeah, I mean, there's a ton of ways to trade. You guys just got to figure out what works best for you. For me personally, I like to scalp. That's just my way of trading, and it works. It's profitable for me. That's why I keep doing it. But yeah, I mean, there's intraday trading, swing trading, patterns trading, supply and demand, etc. Tons of ways to trade. Martha said the Fantastic Four symbol should be a good one. I know you can technically think of anything. Like really just go to a chart like this, a clean chart, and you can think of like anything that would come up here. Like someone mentioned this thing called the log strategy. Log strategy is just like identifying range, which is not really that difficult. Like for example, someone said, oh yeah, do you apply the log strategy? I'm like, what's a log strategy? And I showed him this right here. And he's like, that's a log strategy. So this is a range. Like there's like people create names for it. This is just a range here. So he's like, oh, do you apply the log strategy? Basically, he drew a box there. And then whenever price broke and closed below, that's just a breakout out of a range, right? So, I mean, you guys can, there's different things. Like you guys can call it whatever you like. Like for myself, even for our own strategies here, I created these names here: momentum scalp failure, momentum scalp variation, momentum scalp. But I mean, typically it usually will align with something that somebody else is applying. Question from Brock. Brock's asking, waiting for a deeper dump. Maybe it's your blue line, Sean. The blue line here is the opening price, Brock. The sessions are red, purple, and green. So green's going to be the New York high low, purple is going to be the Asia high low, and the red's going to be the London high low. The pink lines are news price, and the blue lines are opening price. So this is market open for NYSE. Yeah, I know, CT, right? Rename it and claim it. Let's call it the log strategy. Yeah, but I don't trade that way, so it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have a specific trading plan that you guys like to follow, you know, keep following it. Let's see. Dejan said the dude he used to trade oil with used the log strategy. He tried to make me do it too, but it's mad risky because it can close below and shoot right back up. Yeah. So the problem with that strategy that like I just referred to, the like basically the range breakout, is that there could be a lot of fake outs. Like for example, here, like, you know, using this as an example right here, you get a lot of fake outs where price will close below and it'll pull right back up. So that's why I typically don't like applying that myself. Or I mean, even something like this right here, price is squeezing, and you can literally get stopped out in either direction, below or above. So for me personally, I don't like applying it. I mean, that's a basic way of trading. If you guys want to trade like one of the easiest strategies, it's really just waiting for a range and catching the breakout. But a lot of times it's really hard to like figure out if it's going to hit or not. Nick said, for some reason, my brain is just coming up with extremely vulgar strategy names right now. Right. Let's see. Fredericks is asking, there's another one called Adam and Eve strategy. Anyone? I've never heard of that one before. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of that. So guys, just a heads up, we're not missing on anything. I'm still watching the charts right now. There's just no entries for us to take at the moment. Price is just going sideways. So I know we're going a bit off topic, talking about other things that people apply, but there's just no entries for us to take here in the live session. But don't worry, I'm still watching the charts and I'm still looking for entries here. We currently have a sell signal here that's currently pending. We need to watch to see volume here is below average. The problem with this here is that price is not really moving too much. Volatility here has died down a lot. So it's not really a good time to take any trades because the market's pretty much dead at this moment, right? What you want to look for here is you want to look for price to actually move so that you guys can actually go and hop into these trades. Right now, there's not really much movement here. Price is pretty much going sideways. Here's the clean chart. Right here, as you guys can see, I'm not going to cover the wicks. I'm just going to cover the bodies to show you guys that there's not really much going on here. So price is pretty much ranging right here. If you look at the range, it's about 200 pips. So this is not very much for you to really have much movement, right? Because price can easily just go back and forth and then not hit your TP or stop loss at any point. So this is like what we're not looking for. You don't want to take a trade like this because you'll be holding on to this trade for like 5-10 minutes and it's not really going to go anywhere. And that's the worst possible way to be stuck into a scalp, because you want this trade to hit right away. Frederick said, just made it up for naked Forex trading. Oh, that's catchy. I didn't think about that. So Frederick over here was just making up a strategy. He was just joking around, and he called it the Adam and Eve strategy, which he correlates with naked Forex trading. If you guys are not familiar with naked Forex trading, it's just Forex trading with nothing on the charts, like blank chart. Some people trade this way too. There's nothing wrong with trading that way. You know, if you can find a profitable way to trade that way, then great. What I recommend is just to find something that's profitable for you and stick to it. You know, just continue mastering that way of trading. I've been scalping for like over 5 years now, and this has been very profitable for me over the years. So that's why I stick to this specifically. I can trade intraday and I can swing trade, but I personally don't prefer it because I don't like holding on to a trade for too long. I like knowing right away whether it hits or whether it doesn't. Yeah, Maddie mentioned that one too. All right, so Nick said sell signal, volume is likely below average. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now, Nick. I'm looking for this momentum scalp failure. The only problem with this here, if we do get it, is that the volume here is so low, right? So the problem with this is that if you guys are not familiar with what happens when the volume gets low like this, it's preparing for a breakout. So when price starts to squeeze like this, you guys can see price kind of pushed up and it started dropping down a little bit. It dropped down below and started pushing right back up. At this point, with this right here, this is setting up for a breakout. So, and we have news coming up right here at 7:30. So this is even more of a reason for the breakout to happen, right? So it's not an actual news event. It's just the Fed speaking today. So you want to be very careful about entering any trades out around that time. Yeah, 7:30 right here. Fed member Jefferson's going to be speaking. So they'll probably be speaking till 8 o'clock. We'll try to catch some trades, but we got to see and we got to make sure that, you know, this doesn't affect the market too much because it likely will. We also have Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index at 7:30 as well. So in the next 3 minutes, we have a news event coming up right here, Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, which is medium. And we also have Fed Jefferson speaking as well. So we'll see how price reacts to it. I'm expecting a breakout to happen right here at the 7:30 line. All right. Hey, Maddie. You can probably come by anytime before 2, Maddie. So guys, just a heads up, we have our mentoring session today at 2 o'clock. We're back on normal schedule. We didn't have it yesterday because of the holiday. But yeah, you can come through like around before 2 if you like. I'll probably be back around 12-ish, so around 2 would be solid. Yeah, so just a heads up, guys, if you guys want to attend the mentoring session later today, we have the group mentoring session at 2 p.m. Pacific. So after we get off this live session, I'll take a break, come back in about 6 hours, and we'll be having our mentoring session. So it'll be vital. If you guys are not consistent with your trading, guys, it's really key that you guys come to these mentoring sessions so that I can help you. You know, whatever you guys need help with, I'm here to help you guys out. So if you guys have a problem with over trading, with revenge trading, that's typically everyone's problem, revenge trading and over trading. And another one that we've been seeing with a lot of people is people not setting a stop loss, right? Like when I see people blow their FTMO accounts, that should never happen. You guys, every time you guys enter a trade, you guys should be using a proper lot size and you guys should be using a stop loss at all times. There should never be a time where there's no stop loss. So if you guys are risking like 1 to 2% per trade, it's like literally impossible for you guys to fail at FTMO. Like nobody should be failing at FTMO ever. You guys should be like, if you guys don't pass it, you guys should still be getting that free retry. But failing it is like out of the question. There should be no reason for you guys to be failing it because, you know, the win rate's high enough. As long as you guys are following directions, you guys are sticking to the live sessions and also using a stop loss. That's key. So I think the big problem with a lot of people who fail their FTMO is that they use too big of a lot size and they also don't use a stop loss. And what happens is they trigger the daily stop limit, which is like, that's like the worst possible way to blow your account. Because I've seen people where like they just buy their challenge, and then as soon as they get the challenge, their whole trading plan changes and they stop using stop losses, and then they lose their challenge within 1 day. So you basically just threw money away with like a single trade because you didn't want to put a stop loss. So just keep that in mind, guys. Whenever you guys are taking a trade, always use proper lot sizing and also use a stop loss. It doesn't matter if you guys eat a loss. Like for example, today, I ate a loss today, right? It's okay to eat losses, eat the losses and move on to the next one. That's key thing there. Nice. So Dejan over here just posted his profits. There's a possible entry here, guys, for a momentum scalp failure, but it's right next to news. So I'm not going to take this trade here, but this is a momentum scalp failure entry. So I just want to give you guys a heads up there. If you guys are looking to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys, but I'm not going to be taking it myself because we do have news right here. This is the news candle. And it's just too much of a mess for me to hop into a trade right there. So this right here is technically the momentum scalp failure. I'm not in the position. I'm going to mark up news price right here, though. Yeah, so I'm not in this. It's too close to news price. Well, I mean, it's on the news candle. So that's like an automatic red flag right there. So I'm not in this position right there. I'll come back to it. We'll just review it later because I don't want you guys to take it and then be tempted to hop into the trade. So we'll follow it after it's like moved from where it's currently at, but I'm not in that position. I don't want you guys to like feel FOMO and want to hop into a trade or hop into it late. If you guys want to take it, take it. It's still running in profit right now, but if you don't want to take it, then hold off. I don't recommend taking it because you don't know how price is going to react to this news event. Let me check my FX book real quick, see what's going on with this news event right here. All right, news event right here. News was negative. It's actually really negative. So we'll see how that affects the market. And then we have Fed member Jefferson starting to speak soon as well. Let's see, we got the wick rejection right there. So this is something that I'd probably look out for. I probably would look out for this here. This candle is going to close in about 3 minutes. If you get a wick rejection off this 5 minute, and then you see it followed by a wick rejection also here on the 1 minute, then odds of it pushing up higher are very likely. Candle here hasn't closed yet. It has about like 3 minutes left on it, so it's got a lot of time. But you guys can see how price is pushing back up, right? Because you want to, like, what you're looking for here is a direction of price. Direction here overall is still bullish, so I'm still expecting price to push up higher, but it is due for retracement. So, and here on the 1 minute, price is pretty much, it's retraced already and it's now ranging. So the retracement is pretty much done here on the one. We just need to wait for this breakout to happen, whether it be to the upside or to the downside. I think price is going to break out to the upside. What I see happen right here is I see a fake out. So you guys see how I marked up this right here? You guys can see how this red candle here closed below, right? I see this as a fake out. It rejected off the pivot, and now it's going to correct right back up, which is exactly where it's going. So we'll see. I mean, this might be another fake out right here, double fake out. So again, this is another reason why I don't like trading this like log strategy that I mentioned earlier, guys, because you can see a lot of fake outs play out here. This faked out here, pulled back up, price pulled back below. This might be another fake out. And then from here, price just might, shoot right back up. But I mean, who knows? You really don't know what's going to happen from this point. And price is right at news price right here. So not a good area to trade. It's a red flag. Gotcha. Yeah. So Rashida over here pulled out early as well from that trade that I took. So she pulled out earlier, took a small loss. It's all good. It happens. She'll make it back on the next trade. So take a small loss right there. She just needs to take one trade and she'll make it right back. She's down 800 right now, which is not a big amount. Going back to what Rashida typically makes, she makes a pretty good amount. So like she makes at least over 1,000 a day if she's on point with the trades. So yeah, you're fine, Rashida. It's still Monday, so you got a lot of time ahead of you. All right, let's go back to that 5 minute. Let's see where it's currently at. So this candle here has about a minute left on it, guys. The thing to look out for is that wick rejection on here. So if this candle here closes and there's a wick rejection off this point, if you see another wick rejection here on the one, then it's probably going to follow through with that bounce, but it's not looking like it right here. It has 40 seconds left on this candle. If this is the case where price continues to drop lower, the thing to look out for here would be the 10. So you guys can see how price is coming back here on the 10. What you might see right here is if this here doesn't close. So there's two different scenarios that can play out here on the 5. If price closes above and it rejects off the pivot, then I'm expecting price to probably push up higher. If price closes below, then we would probably focus here on the 10 and look for this to come back down, test the pivot, and then bounce from that point there. So these are just hints to look out for. There's no strategy to it. It's really just looking at the hints here to see, how far price is going to come down. So these pivots here are useful when identifying the distance between rejection and correction. So there's no rejection here. You can see how it failed to bounce off it. So the next area for it to retest is going to be this blue line right here. And the next level for this to retest here is going to be this green line right here, right? Pivot 1. So just something to look out for here. Van Hartwig showed this dinosaur pattern for this is actually pretty good. Van Hartwig he basically printed a dinosaur right here, and you can see that it does line up actually with the pivots dinosaur pattern. That's crazy. Yeah, I think you can do that now. You can copy paste photos on the on TradingView, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, Nick said this month has been pretty rough for me. Not enough trades, and the ones I did take were losses. Haven't been able to bring myself out of the hole. Yeah, no, this whole month has been off. Like the whole month of February. That's why I can't wait for it to go back, like for it to reach March. And you guys can see how price is dumping super heavy right here, right? This is exactly what I was waiting for. I was waiting for that retracement. So looking at this right here, there may be a wick rejection here off the 10 and then possibly here on the 5. So something to look out for here. It's rejecting off the pivot here on both the 5 and 10. So this might be a bounce back up. And right here on the 1 minute, it's bouncing off opening price. So huge dump right here. You guys can see how it bounced directly off opening price. So this is another example why I draw these price points, right? Like I draw these price points here for a reason. Market open over here at 630. You can see how price comes down and it rejects directly off opening price. So these things are put here for a reason. I don't put like random lines on the chart. I put them there because that becomes like actual relevant structure. So price is still dropping right here. Still dropping here on the 5 too. This is the messy market we were waiting for. So I was hoping to catch at least one more trade to offset my losses, but I'm probably gonna sit tight for a bit, see how this year plays out. Yeah, Alan said maybe the Fed Jefferson's talking. Yeah, he's talking right now. So he probably said something that made price come down, but then price here still respected the structure. Yeah, and then Rashida over here, she also identified the double bodies. So looking over here, Rashida actually identified the double top right there, or double body for a V1 variation or a V2. I forgot what the variations are because I don't apply them anymore. But yeah, no, Rashida over here, she looked at it was on the 1 minute too, Rashida. So there was if you guys are familiar with my variation strategy, it's a reversal pattern. So like, for example, right here on the 10, you can see how there's a double body right there. Rashida identified that earlier. Same with on the 5 over here. And then same with the 1 over here. So you guys can kind of see this too. Like when you guys have a confluence of a strategy across the time frames, odds of it hitting are very likely. So like right here on the 10, there was a double body. Here on the 5, there's a double body. Here on the 1, there's a double body. That's applying the variation, I think V1, I believe, right? Here, let me just go up here real quick. Yeah, so the V1 variation right here, you guys can see confirm overall bias. I mean, this wouldn't work out because we were looking for a buy here. So this rejection here wouldn't play out, but the pattern here still played out. So the pattern here that I've identified using the high-low indicator is a reversal pattern. So you guys can see there's a double body here. There's a double body over here on the 5-minute and a double body here on the 10. So if you identify that, like what Rashida did, you could have anticipated a drop to happen from there. For me personally, since I have a bullish bias, I'd be looking for a double body on the bottom end. So like, for example, here, you guys can see how there's a double body right here. I would look for the correction. So instead of me looking for the reversal, I'm looking for the correction. So what I'd be looking for here is I'd look for a double body here, double body here, double body here. If I get a double body on all 3 time frames, odds of it pushing back up are going to be very likely. So that might be something for you guys to look out for. It's 7:40 right now, so we still have about 20 minutes till 8. The main thing to look out for here would be a double body on the 5 and 10, because that would be a correction from these price points. But yeah, no, nice catch right there, Rashida, with the double body earlier. See, Kevin mentioned the Fed member may cause the price to crash depending on what he says. Price is crashing now. Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have a live stream of like what Fed Jefferson's saying right now, so I can't really tell what he's saying. I don't know if it's live streamed anywhere. Yeah, I don't know. There's probably other websites to see the live stream for it, but I don't have it myself, or I don't know of one myself specifically. Anyways, price is back down below here. There's no overall direction of trend. I mean, the trend here on the 1 minute, it's obviously bearish. Price is below the pivots. Pivots are angling down and the trend meter is red. Over here on the 5 and 10, price over here is still bullish, but it's we'll see if it ends up holding. So the 10 over here is rejecting off the pivot. The 5 over here. So this is the main thing I'd be looking for. I think if we get this rejection off this point and this point right here off the pivot, then I'm expecting this to probably correct back up at least a little bit. So this thing, he still has 3 minutes left on it. It's got a lot of time. And this one right here still has 8 minutes left on it. So there's a lot of time on both ends over here. Check the higher time frames. Yeah, I mean, there can be a rejection on all of these right here. So if you see the rejection here on the 1 hour, 30 minute, and 10 minute, if they're all rejecting off the pivot, then odds of it correcting back up are likely. Same with this one over here. So you can see here on the 5, but this isn't going to be relevant because the 10 minute here still hasn't closed. So you basically want to have a confluence between multiple time frames. This 5 minute is going to be by itself, but this 10 minute right here is also by itself, but this isn't going to close for another 7 minutes. There's just nothing for us to take right here, guys. If there's any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, if you guys want to wait for the mentoring session later, it's probably a better time to ask questions. But if there's anything that you guys want me to cover now, feel free to let me know and I can take a look. But at the moment, there's just nothing for us to take right now. Here's a clean chart. As you guys can see, price is pretty much corrected back down to where it was earlier. So you guys can see that there hasn't been really very much movement down here. There was price below opening price, pushed up, consolidated, pushed back down, back into consolidation. So if you guys look down here, it's pretty much back to where it was earlier. Yeah, nothing too crazy right here, guys. You guys can see how price came down to this area and now it's not really doing much. It's pretty much still just at the same area that I was on open. So market open right here, came down a little bit, established a support, bounced back up, came back down, retested, came back above here, and now it's right back where it was earlier. So it's pretty much the same market that's been going on for the past couple of weeks now. Like, I mean, basically from earlier February, I mean, the same movement's been playing out pretty much all week long, or all month long, actually. All right, price broke below. If that's the case, and there's not going to be a wick rejection here, maybe there'll be a reversal. Who knows? Let's see. Kevin said it's at 33,000 psychological levels, so it may bounce. Who knows what the Fed member is speaking? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know. These candles still have a lot of time though. So this 10-minute here still has a lot of time. You can see how it keeps rejecting off the pivot right here. Still got a lot of time until it establishes. Let's see, Johnson, it sounds like I'm applying the SR rejection some more this week. Oh yeah, so let's take a look at that real quick. So the strategy that John's talking about is the SR rejection scalp. Yeah, so it might be, I mean, I don't see any right here, but there's actually one right here, John. I don't know if you caught this one earlier this morning. So there was an SR rejection scalp down here at 649. Rejected off the pivot and the structure right here. So the pivot's right here and the structure down below. Yeah, so that would have been a solid entry. Or even the one next to it. So if you guys were trading with me last summer, this was like the market conditions last summer. Price is pretty much just going sideways. I created this strategy called the SR rejection scalp. And this strategy worked out perfect. I mean, if you guys want to start applying it yourself, if you guys have my indicators and my strategies, it still works perfectly fine. You know, if the market continues to move sideways, this might be the main strategy because we applied this during the summer and we were still very profitable in the summer. It was slowed down a bit, but you know, the entry still came up and they were still okay. So right now we're still sticking to these three main strategies, but the one that Dejan is referring to, if you guys are in the Zoom, Dejan's talking about the SR rejection scalp. So if you go down to my strategies, it's going to be in the course. It's the 1 minute SR rejection scalp. So you confirm the direction of trend, identify a wick rejection off the zone, and you pretty much just keep writing that up. Identify top wick rejection off SR zone. Actually, you don't even need the pivots. I mean, the pivots do help though. Sorry, I was confusing the snipe strategy with the SR rejection, but yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of entries here that did come up, Dejan, because price came down below here. There's actually another SR rejection right here. Yeah, there was one right here. I don't know if you saw that, Dejan. So yeah, if the market continues to move like this, then we'll just add this to the list. It's just one more strategy. That strategy is perfect for a ranging market. It's very good during the summer because the market ranges a lot during the summer. And it allows you to really like pick up on these trades very, very quickly. But for right now, we're still focusing on these three right here. There's no correction. There's no direction of overall trend. So for the first requirement on all the strategies, guys, you want to confirm the overall direction of the trend on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10-minute timeframes. Looking over here on the 1, 5, and 10, there's no direction. I mean, price is currently bullish over here on the 5, or not even on the 5 anymore, because price is below the pivot. So looking over here on the 1, this is currently bearish because price is below the pivots, trend meters red, and the pivots are angling down. Looking over here on the 5, price is currently neutral. I mean, technically it's below the pivots, but the trend meter down below is still green and the pivots are like kind of sideways. The 10-minute over here is technically still bullish, right? So price is in between the pivots, but the trend meter here is still green and price looks like it can correct back up. So it's a really messy chart right now. There's no direction of trend with all the time frames. I mean, if you look at the 1 minute, obviously it's bearish. If you look over here on the 10-minute, it's still technically bullish. So if this ends up shifting to the downside, then that's perfectly fine. We can start looking for sells. So looking over here on the 5, we can look for price to come back below, retest, and continue dropping from there. And then same with the a 10. However, it is 750 right now, guys, so it's getting close to 8. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. But it looks like we'll be closing this out pretty soon. 8 o'clock is the cutoff time for our trades because volume dies down around that time. It's not really a good time to trade. But yeah, there's still no confirmation here with regard to direction or price. And I was hoping it'd be better this week, but it's still technically February. March 1st is on Wednesday. So hopefully on March 1st, price will start to move like in some sort of direction. But for pretty much this entire month of February, it hasn't been a good month of trading. We're still technically overall in, so here, let me check the results. So here are the results for the year so far. So for the year so far, we have a total of 21 wins and 4 losses. February has been like a rocky month. We're still technically in profit. It's not a lot of profit though. Like if you took all of the live session trades for February, we're only up like 3% for the month, which is really small. January, we were up 10%, so it was a good start. February kind of died down a bit. We had a little more losses than usual. So this kind of set us back a little bit. Hopefully by March, it's going to start to smoothen out. But I mean, overall for February and January, we're doing okay. We're in profit, but it's not as great as we're typically used to early in the year. If you guys remember last year, our February was pretty good. So if you guys look at our results from, I'll just go to like the end of year results here on the second. Yeah, so if you guys look at the results for our live trading last year, January was actually pretty good. We have 17 wins, 3 losses. February, we had 17 wins and only 1 loss. March, we had 10 wins and 0 losses. April, 16 wins, 0 losses. So pretty much for like the entire first half of the year, we had like little to no losses. For this year, February is a little different. It's not as good as it was last year. And obviously, you know, in the summer, the trade volatility starts to die down a bit. So we'll see if there is anything that we decide to follow through with. A question from Glenn. Glenn's asking, was there any official trades today? Yeah, there was one trade today. I don't know if you were on the live, but we had this trade earlier this morning. This happened like a little bit after open, about 6:30 something. So depending if you were taking it, for me personally, I took a loss on this trade because I was using a different, I'll just post this up over here so you guys can see. I see you're on the YouTube, Glenn, so you probably didn't see the post, but this is the trade we took earlier. I don't know like when you join the live session, but I'm testing this theory where if the trade doesn't hit within the first 3 minutes, I pull out for a small win or a small loss. So for today, I pulled out when price was down here, took it out for a small loss, which is fine. Then I took a little trade after it and I made back some of that loss. But if you held on to the trade completely, it would have went to full TP, whether it was 100 pips or the full 25.50, it would have hit TP eventually. But since we're applying scalps here, we want to get in and out of these trades quickly. So what I'm doing now, for me personally, you guys don't have to do this because, you know, the strategy still work fine as is. But for me, I'm trying to minimize my losses. So if the trade doesn't hit within the first 3 minutes, I pull out for a win or a loss. Doesn't matter if it's a win or a loss, and I move on to the next one. So that was the only one that came up today. There's no other trades that came up today. That trade was a momentum scalp, and it was also momentum scalp variation. It was this green one right here. So price was super choppy, so I didn't end up holding on to it. I ended up pulling out for a loss, but it did pull up and hit TP eventually. Let's see if there's anything else over here. Yeah, no problem, Patricia. Yeah, Deshaun said the candles are too big right now. Yeah, no, they are. They're way too big right now. It's not really much for us to apply. Madhu said, does that mean NFP on Friday? I believe so. Let me check. No, actually, so there's no NFP this week, guys. NFP is next week, I'm assuming. Let me check. Yeah, usually it's the first week of each month, but since March starts on Wednesday, I think they're carrying it over to the next month. Yeah, NFP is actually next week, Madhu. So it's not this week. So I don't know, maybe the market might not be as crazy as we thought. It might just keep going sideways until next week for the NFP to really set place. Question from Nuwan. Nuwan's asking, can you, yeah, sure, let me check. So. All right, so Nuwan, if you ever want to check, you can always pull up this right here. I use the, it's called the timezoneconverter.com. So my local time here is 7 a.m. right now. The mentoring session later tomorrow, today is at 2 p.m. So you're in New Zealand. Let me just use this right here. It would be 11 a.m. for you next day. So you guys are like a whole day ahead of us. So it'll be 2 p.m. for us here. but it'll be 11 a.m. for you. Yeah, no problem. And you're up like really late, or what time is it right now up there? Let me check. So 7:53. Damn, it's 4:30 a.m. You're still up, Nuan. It's crazy. It's dedication right there. I know we had a couple people here who used to trade from New Zealand. Lisa used to trade from New Zealand. I don't think she's in New Zealand anymore, but she was. That's crazy that you guys are up so late. Good though. If you're profiting, that's all that matters, right? You sleep later. So some more profits over here from the other people. So Shaka over here posted his profits. He's up 5,010 for the day. Nice work, Shaka. All wins for the day. So solid work right there. We have Patricia over here. She said, not that exciting, but I will take it in the green today. So her first account over here, she's up 740 for the day. Nice work, Patricia. So solid profits right there. Her other account over here, she's up 870. So yeah, it's not as much as you're used to, but you know, profit's profit, especially with this type of market. The market's not really doing too much right now, so there's not really much for us to take. Natasha over here is currently up 1,154 for the day. Nice work, Natasha. Zach over here, he's currently up 2,165. Looks like a lot of you guys here just took trades off my analysis this morning, which is fine if you guys know how to follow along. Let's see, Vincent over here as well. He took that sell over there when price started dropping. He saw that sell signal, took the sell as price rejected off the pivot, locked in a total profit of 74.45 for the day. Nice work, Vincent. Yeah, no, great work right there. Eunice over here as well. Gotcha, okay. So Eunice just posted this. Mentioned why Golden's consumers ambitions failed, what it's meant by. Yeah, so basically there was a drop that happened earlier, or you know, the initiation of the drop. There was some news that was released here from CNBC. See if there's any other profits here from you guys. Yeah, nothing else so far, guys. But yeah, if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Just keep in mind that today's Monday. We still have a whole week ahead of us. So there's no need to force any trades. I'm not going to be taking any more trades after 8 today. I'm just going to sit clear. I'm going to eat the loss today, and I'm going to move on to tomorrow. So right now for the day, I'm currently negative 1,700 on my FTMO, negative 1,900 on my MFF, but I'm just like 1 or 2 trades away from being back in profit. So it's not a big deal. If I see anything good, then, you know, I'll hop into something, but right now the market just isn't doing anything. Here's a clean chart. As you guys can see, there's not really much of a direction. So market opened over here at 630, price kind of faked out below here, shot up above, faked out right here, came back below. And I don't know if this here will actually hold. Like this might just bounce back from this point and come right back to opening price. The thing that you guys want to keep in mind is that Fed Jefferson's speaking right now, or I don't know if he's still speaking, but he was speaking at 7:30. And I don't know like what he was saying because we don't have a live stream of like what he's speaking about or even minutes. Let's see. So we could have checked it on here. It's, oh, whoops. I have to go on their Zoom. So, okay. So if you guys wanted to watch the Fed, this is basically what he discussed over here. So he didn't have anything good to say, basically recent inflation and the dual mandate. So he was measuring inflation here. Benefits price stability. So yeah, it seems like the things that he mentioned today were not necessarily good for the market. And that's why price dropped right here. But here's the thing. So he was speaking right there and he made price drop, but price might correct back up. That's why I'm like curious to see if this ends up bouncing back up. As you guys can see over here on the 10, price is rejecting off the pivot, but it's rejecting off the pivot on both sides. We have a rejection down below right here, and we also have a rejection above right here. So this can be a turning point, whether price corrects back up or whether it continues dropping. One thing to look out for here on the 10. So if you guys decide to continue trading, this is one thing to look out for. So here on the 10-minute time frame, if this candle here closes below the pivots, this last pivot, it has about a minute left on it, so it has some time. If this here closes below it, then I think price will continue dropping. However, if this happens right here where price closes in between, then price may continue going sideways. If price ends up closing above this pivot, then I can probably see a correction. So there's just a couple of things here to look out for. If you guys are looking for direction, I don't really recommend trading after 8, but if you guys need to, like say if your challenge is going to end today and you need to make it back to break even, then this is going to be one of the indications whether price will continue pushing up or whether it'll continue pushing down. Here on the higher time frames, you guys can see, I think price will push back up. In my perspective, I think price is going to push back up because you guys can see here on the 1 hour rejection off the bottom right here on the, well, okay, this is kind of iffy because the 30-minute right here isn't really rejecting off anything. Let me take off the high low. Yeah, so I take that back. It depends on like where this closes. If this 30-minute closes above this pivot right here, so if it rejects off this blue pivot, then I can expect a correction back to the upside because we have a rejection right here on the 1 hour as well. So this is the key thing right here on the 30. If this closes below this blue line, then there's no confirmation because you need to have a, basically a double confluence here. So this might continue dropping lower and it might bounce off these pivots down here. Yeah, I don't think this is going to swing up in the next 10 seconds. Or maybe it will. No, it didn't. All right, so I don't see any direction here yet, guys. I mean, there's a rejection here on the 1 hour, but there's no confluence with the 30. There's a small confluence here at the 10, but there's a rejection on both sides. So going back to this 10-minute time frame, the thing that I was showing you guys earlier, see how there's a wick rejection off the top and wick rejection off the bottom? There's a lot of uncertainty here. Price can just go sideways. So wouldn't necessarily consider this a good time to make any entries until you have a confirmation of direction. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for right now. Let me see if there's anything else here that I need to answer. So let's see if there's any other questions. No other questions there. Nice is asking, hi, Sean. I was late today, but what time in the afternoon session do you think is the best time to trade? So for me personally, if I trade Asia session, I typically trade between 6 p.m. and 10 p.m. Pacific time, because that's generally where you'll have Asia volatility, and then it'll build its way up until London. So typically, if I do trade in Asia, it'll be from 6 o'clock to 10 p.m. I don't know where you're located. Nice, but you guys can use that in a time zone converter to figure out what time that is. It's usually like, it's basically an hour after Tokyo Open. Tokyo opens at 4 p.m. my time. So you'll have that volatility when Tokyo is fully open, and then it starts to overlap as it gets closer to London. But I personally don't trade it as often. I trade it sometimes, but not very often because the volatility is just way too slow. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. You guys can email me, Sean@KodiKaiTrades.com. Otherwise, you guys can message me on Telegram. That's probably the fastest way to get in touch. If you guys want to sit in on the mentoring session later today, it's available to everybody. So I'm going to be on again in about 6 hours at 2 p.m. Pacific time for our group mentoring session. So unless you guys have any questions, I'll see you guys back here in the next couple hours. Otherwise, there's a couple more profits here. So Kevin over here is currently at 12,000 on this account. Nice work, Kevin. Man, this Telegram is so annoying. Let me fix this. Okay, so Kevin over here is up 12,000 for the day. Nice work, Kevin. We have Dijon over here. So he left that up right there. Yeah, Dijon said I left live and the SR rejection popped up. Market makers don't want to see him win. Wesley over here, small loss. It's all good. Yeah, so Wesley took a small loss earlier with me. It's all good. Small loss. You have one. You just need one or two trades and you'll be back in profit. CERN over here currently up 432 for the day. Nice work, CERN. And then we have CSUK over here with a total profit of 3,700 for the day. So nice work, guys. If you guys made profit today, great. If you guys didn't, it's perfectly fine. Today's basically Monday. We have a whole week ahead of us. So you guys got a lot of different opportunities to make profits throughout this week. So, all right, guys, other than that, I will see you guys later today for the mentoring session. If not, I'll see you guys here tomorrow for the next live session.